Hi, welcome to 647. Six stories for 7 a.m. because there's a famine of truth in our nation. And this is your quick news fix. And the truth starts now. And we're going to do something different. Okay? So for this first section, just trying something out. It's the 647 Tapas Bar, right? These are little bites, light bites, small plates, if you will. Los platos pequeños, okay? And I'm going to serve this up with a lovely white or red sangria. And these are snippets of news, right? They're things I don't want to belabor, but I think it's important that you know about. So the 647 Tapas Bar is open. Let's go. The wimps and soy boys at Disney put Jimmy Kumquat back on the air last night. I didn't see it. I don't want to see it. I don't care what he did. I don't care if he mea culpa or if he went off the other end. I don't care. But Nexstar cared, and Nexstar is the largest local news provider in the U.S., and they announced yesterday that it will not air Late Night with Jimmy Kumquat and will keep it off its ABC affiliates till they are assured that the Kumquat will watch his mouth. They didn't say it that way. They said it in corporate speak, but that's what it boils down to. You're going to watch Jimmy Kumquat's mouth? That's like being in charge of Jerry Nadler's briefs. Ooh. Okay, next light plate. Secret Service dismantles imminent telecom threat in the New York area. A rogue network of criminals put up some rogue electronic devices across New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut, consisting of 300 co-located SIM servers and 100,000 SIM cards across multiple sites within a 35-mile radius of the United Nations. This is skullduggery. The network was established by nation-state threat actors. Okay, that's how the Secret Service describes these folks, known to the federal law enforcement, with a plan to disable cell towers, enable denial of service attacks, and disrupt our country's telecommunications. Okay, just thought you should know. It's all set and ready to go for this UN meeting that, I don't know if you heard Trump speak today. He brought his paddle and he spanked those people over there. It was glorious. All right, still, are we still in the tap? We're still in the Tapas Bar. Don't distract me. All right, this is Shutdown, Slapdown. Okay, this is our next Tapas offering. Crying Chucky, Schumer, and Hakeem, the lefty wet dream Jeffries, are threatening Trump with a government shutdown on September 30. Yo, that's in 1 week. They're threatening to shut the government down in 1 week unless the orange roughie gives them, listen up, $1 trillion for illegal alien health care. That's one. 2, taxpayer-funded transgender mutilations of minors, and a ton of other leftist grift and swill. And you know what Trump's response was? They thought they'd have him shaken. He goes, yeah, I'm not going to meet with you until you get serious. This guy's not sweating a bit. Shut the government down. I don't know what he's got up his sleeve, but I guarantee it's nothing but face cards. And these guys are going to end up looking like fools. Okay, next offer in the Tapas Bar is the assassin loser Ryan Routh. Okay, he finished up in court yesterday with my favorite judge in the world, So Ryan is a failed CIA experiment and was found guilty on Tuesday. He was guilty of attempting to shoot President Trump at his Bedminster golf course. You remember this. A Secret Service person was walking the perimeter and found him in the bushes with a rifle ready to go. So, what happened when Ryan found out that he was found guilty? He immediately grabbed an ink pen and started stabbing his attorney in the neck repeatedly. Well, this was a reach for the MK Ultra program, as Ryan had chosen to be his own attorney. So, true to form, Ryan's attorney survived and will spend his lifetime in prison. If you don't get the joke about MK Ultra, think Jason Bourne movies and Ryan stabbing himself in the neck like a typical reprobate. All right. The Tapas Bar is now closed. Okay, Trump today on Truth Social, putting a truth statement out. This one, listen close. I'm just going to read what he put out. After getting to know and fully understand the Ukraine-Russia military and economic situation, and after seeing the economic trouble it is causing Russia, I think Ukraine, with the support of the European Union, is in a position to fight and win all of Ukraine back in its original form. With time, patience, and the financial support of the European Union, and in particular NATO, the original borders from where this war started is very much an option. Why not? Russia has been fighting aimlessly for 3.5 years, a war that should have taken a real military power less than a week to win. This is the winner of the 12 Days War here talking. This is not distinguishing Russia. In fact, it is very much making them look like a paper tiger. When the people living in Moscow and all of the great cities, towns, and districts all throughout Russia find out what is really going on with this war, the fact that it's almost impossible for them to get gasoline through the long lines that are being formed, and all the other things that are taking place in their war economy, where most of their money is being spent on fighting Ukraine, which has a great spirit and only getting better. Ukraine would be able to take back their country in its original form, and who knows, maybe even go further than that. Putin and Russia are in big economic trouble, and this is the time for Ukraine to act. In any event, I wish both countries well. We will continue to supply weapons to NATO for NATO to do what they want with them. Good luck to all. So there are two ways you can take this. One way is, ooh, baby, when you talk like that, you making MAGA go mad. Así es perfecto. That's one way. The other way is, this is the master troll, right? He is just saying, okay, Vladimir, you embarrassed me. I said I'd end this thing in 24 hours once I became president. And then you flipped on me and you said, I'm going with my Indian, Chinese, and Russian friends, okay? And we're going to make you look bad. So now, I don't know, but the Orange Ruffy was over at the UN today, and he was all elbows. And I think he has something up his sleeve for Vladimir that Vladimir is not going to be happy about. All right, take 3, swatting. What is it? Well, ask Marjorie Taylor Greene, because of everybody in Congress, she's had it happen to her the most, multiple times. So here's what swatting is. A hater, like a criminal, like a trans person in crisis, like a leftist Democrat, calls the police and says, a crazed gunman is at Marjorie Taylor Greene's house and has shot 2 family members and is holding the others hostage. So what do the police do? And they call SWAT. They get all kitted out and they show up in full SWAT inertia, and there's the possibility that an innocent person gets shot during the door kicker room clearing event. Nice. Nice lefties. The left does so well with their free time and our stolen money. So the 300 servers we were talking about that the Secret Service took down, those would have allowed those swatting calls to be untraceable. So good job taking those down. And what can I say? Go tell it on the mountain, you blue-haired bitches. Stop doing this stuff. It's going to get worse for you. All right, take 4, the Charlie Kirk effect. Listen close to this. The funeral service for Charlie Kirk last Sunday had over 100,000 people in attendance, and according to law enforcement, there were between 200,000 and 300,000 in the overflow. The majority of the crowd identified as Christian. Before Charlie passed, 50% of Christians never registered to vote. So Turning Point had voter registration tables everywhere in the main area, the ticketed area, and in the overflow area. And remember, this was the largest event in history. So 50% of Christians have never registered to vote till now, till last Sunday. And of the remaining 50% who are registered, half of them never vote until now. And the 25% of the total Christians who are registered and vote, half of them vote left until now. And right now, thousands of Democrats are changing parties, and thousands of independents are switching to the Republican side. And thousands of Christians are going to be voting because of Charlie. And all I can say is, more Charlie. More, please, more. This is too good. All right, take 5, and this is so serious. There's going to be no goofing around. You got to listen. I'm going to read most of this. This is by Amanda Head, and this is about the Convention of States, and the acronym is COS. And if you see anything about COS locally, get involved and support it, because this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for each and every one of us who are here for such a time as this. All right, here we go. The Convention of States Action hosted its annual national conference this weekend in Indianapolis as calls to rein in expansive federal spending, term limits, and the power of the federal government have not subsided despite President Donald Trump's mandate to do so. And I want you to know that Trump is in favor of this. The Convention of States, driven by Citizens for Self-Governance, is a grassroots effort to utilize Article 5 of the U.S. Constitution to convene a limited state convention. So this is in the Constitution. It's Article 5 that if things get too out of control, that we can call for a convention of states. It enables delegates to propose amendments targeting federal fiscal restraint, reduced government authority, and term limits for Congress and officials. So why would you do this? Why would you have this convention of states? Well, here's a clue. The government's going to shut down in a week, And the Democrats can control the success of the voting in Congress. And they're saying, give us $1 trillion to waste, and then we'll vote for whatever interim package you want, some CR. It's all just not living within their means because they can't. They are out of control. And the founding fathers knew that was a possibility because it's such an attractive grift to go there. Some of these guys have been there for 40 years just stuffing their pockets. They're not going to stop this. We have to stop this. We have to throw off the government that is not working. So let's hear how you do it. To initiate the convention, 34 states, that's 2/3 of the states in our union, must pass resolutions. Any proposed amendments during the convention would require ratification by 38 states. That's 3/4. So we need 2/3 of the state to say, we want to have a convention. That's 34 states. And then if we start making amendments, like we want term limits and we want people to zero out the budget every year. There's no more just spending like lunatics, okay? All of those things require 3/4 of the states to vote yes. And then that overrides our government. So 19 states to date have passed the Convention of States Article 5 application, with an additional 8 states, okay, so that's 27 of the 34 needed. 8 states are granting passage in one chamber, but not yet in the other, okay? So they have to do the other half of the job. And check this out. All 50 states are actively considering the Convention of States resolution. So here's an issue. It has never happened in the history of our country. And this is the only shot for it to happen, okay? If we don't do it now, okay, if we don't do it before the midterms, then we're probably never going to get another opportunity. Because if they figure out some way to scam the vote and win the midterm, they will immediately impeach Donald Trump, and then all of this is over. Then we're back to swirling the bowl on the way down. And trust me, if this thing looks like it's going to pass, Dems and rhinos will fight this thing to the death. They will do anything to stop this. So the Article 5 convention process has never been utilized in U.S. history, with all 27 constitutional amendments originating from Congress. Supporters claim it enables states to curb federal overreach independently, while opponents warn that it might exceed its intended scope, despite protections like focused agendas and separate ratification. Of course, the entrenched government interests don't want this thing they want it strangled in the crib, okay? And everybody else is saying, we're never going to get term limits. Those hogs will never, ever limit their ability to steal. So it's not going to happen from Capitol Hill. This is the only way it happens. And we're never going to get this spending down, and we're never going to contract and shrink this government. The whole media complex and celebrity complex and everybody and big pharma, all these people want to gaslight all of you so that you think, well, it would be dangerous if we did this. Yeah, no, it wouldn't be. Okay? The Convention of States process would take place autonomously and separate from both Congress and the White House. You get that? They can continue all their nonsense on Capitol Hill. All these states meet outside independently. Okay? If we get 2/3 of the states, we have the convention. And then we can make changes to the government with 3/4 of the states voting I, voting yes, voting C. Okay? So while presidents such as Washington, Lincoln, and Reagan had all supported the Article 5 mechanism, no president has thrown his imprimatur, has thrown his weight behind the effort. Trump could change that, and Trump would change that. So that's it. The Convention of States, keep your ear cocked. Look for that acronym COS. It's incredibly, incredibly important. Could be the first time in the history of our country that it's been employed. And the founders knew there would be a day, and this is the day. And then the things that Trump changes, like we don't want a federal Department of Education. We don't want the government involved in education. Let the states do that. The Convention of States could make that law so that the next time we all go into some kind of coma and elect some leftist goofball as president, or they come up with a new steal technique using AI and we all miss it, they can't just do executive orders and reverse everything Trump has done. We need to put what Trump is doing and has done in stone. All right, take 6. This is an arms study. It's a new one. It's Advanced Reprobate Mind Studies, and this is our first royal study, okay? And our patient that we're studying is the Duchess of York. And so here goes. This is the first time we're looking at a minor symptom that could help diagnose this. 7 charities have dropped the Duchess of York as a patron of or ambassador after an email from 2011 revealed that she called sex offender Jeffrey Epstein her supreme friend and seemed to apologize for her public criticism of him, right? She borrowed a lot of money from this guy. Remember, she got divorced from Andrew, and we know what kind of guy Andrew is. And so they're both big buddies with Epstein. So Julia's House, a children's hospice, was the first to remove Sarah Ferguson, Prince Andrew's ex-wife, saying it was inappropriate for her to continue in the role. The Teenage Cancer Trust, Natasha Allergy Research Foundation, Children's Literacy Charity, National Foundation for Retired Service Animals, and Prevent Breast Cancer all announced they had dropped the Duchess as patron. The British Heart Foundation said she would no longer be its ambassador. It comes after the Mail on Sunday and the Sun newspapers published this 2011 email from the Duchess to Epstein, which appears to have been sent after she had publicly claimed to have broken off contact with him. In the email, she appeared to privately apologize for her public rejection of Epstein, saying, "You have always been a steadfast, generous, and supreme friend to me and my family." So this is the symptom we're looking for, okay? So how do you recognize this? The symptom is called Disney duality, okay? And it's when you have the reprobate mind, one of the first things that happens is you start to talk out of both sides of your mouth, completely opposite positions, and you don't think anybody's going to notice because your mind's broken, right? So that seemed to contradict her public denunciation of Epstein in an interview from a few weeks earlier. Disney duality, right? It's like, take Jimmy Kumquat off. Oh, no, we're putting him back on. Oh, is there a conflict? No, we don't think so. Well, somebody else did, Nexstar. So a few weeks earlier, in which she had said her involvement with him, including borrowing money, had been a gigantic error of judgment and that what he did was wrong and for which he was rightly jailed, right? The Duchess had said she would have nothing ever to do with Jeffrey Epstein ever again. only for the later email to say she humbly apologized to him and know you feel hellaciously let down by me. And the unspoken part, I need about $150,000. A spokesperson for the Duchess said her subsequent email to Epstein describing him as a friend was written to counter a threat from him to sue her for defamation, and that she still really regretted any association with him. And that's not even a convincing anything. So, no. No points for that. This email was sent in the context of advice the Duchess was given to try to assuage Epstein and his threats, said a statement from her spokesman when the emails to Epstein had been published at the weekend. Our sympathies go out to the person who is the public spokesman for the Duchess of York. So this is an armed symptom, and we should all pay attention to it, which is called by the clinical term Disney duality. You speak out of both sides of your mouth and try to defend opposite opinions, and you believe nobody notices. Kamala does this all the time. New York Times columnists do this all the time. Joe Biden did this. Most of his White House did this. We don't see it happening in the Trump situation. We don't see his cabinet doing this. They are in your face telling the truth. And oh, by the way, they televise their cabinet meetings. So could there be anything? I mean, that's historical that Trump is doing that. And it's amazing to watch those things. You can actually see our government at work and working, and you can see if somebody doesn't know their job. Can you imagine televising a Biden cabinet meeting? I mean, it would be the end of everything for that regime, and they know it. So this is an early onset symptom of RMS, okay? Reprobate mind symptom. The Duchess of York, sadly, is not curable at this advanced stage. But you know what? We are curable. You know what our problem is? Low numbers. Yes, they're growing. Yes, Jess says that they're growing at 20% on platforms, but just like the Duchess of York, we need more. We need more. Okay, how does that happen? It happens when you like us. It happens when you, what would be the next thing you could do? Share us, of course. And then the comments, I'm asking now, I'm adding new things to this. We have the arms study, and now I'm adding the 647 Tapas Bar. And if I don't get feedback, well, I could turn it into a Pizza Hut, depending on what I hear back. I need the comments, and I need you to push this out into your network, okay? I'm not playing about that. I know it's uncomfortable. I want you to do it. Do the uncomfortable thing. I know that my behavior is erratic. I know that my language is sometimes a little borderline, but the intent is for the truth to get out there so that this famine is overcome, and it will be overcome. And we see symptoms of it being overcome all over the place. And so that's making the Lord Almighty happy. And when he's happy, I get the feeling that his blessings increase. He's not going to increase them for bad behavior. He's going to increase them for positive results. So we're showing a positive result. You could help us show an even more positive result. And I'm going to ask him to bless you, because you know what day it is, right? It's Wednesday, but we don't call it Wednesday here. We call it Hump Day. It's Hump Day. You're going over the middle of the week. That's the hump, right? So Monday, wow, that was a tough day, Monday. And yesterday, it was better. But now Today, you're going to go over the top, and then we're going to take that momentum and we're going to just fly through the rest of the week. So God is going to bless you. I know this because he continues to bless me, and I am by far worse than you. So God bless you and have a fantastic Wednesday. Peace out.